Today's lesson is on percents of increase and decrease. First, we're going to look at our vocabulary. A percent of change is the percent that a quantity changes from the original amount. You can see that the percent of change would be equal to the amount of change divided by the original amount. Now we'll look at our key idea for percents of increase and decrease. When the original amount increases, the percent of change is called a percent of increase. Your percent of increase would be equal to the new amount minus the original amount divided by the original amount. When the original amount decreases, the percent of change is called a percent of decrease. The percent of decrease would be equal to the original amount minus the new amount divided by the original amount. For our first example, we're finding a percent of increase. The table shows the numbers of hours you spent online last weekend. What is the percent of change in your online time from Saturday to Sunday? The number of hours on Sunday is greater than the number of hours on Saturday because Sunday is 4 5/10 and Saturday is 2. So the percent of change is a percent of increase. So percent of increase would be equal to the new amount minus the original amount, and that would then be divided by the original amount. The new amount would be 4 5/10, and the original amount is 2. So we'll have 4 5/10 minus 2, and then the original amount is 2. 4 5/10 minus 2 is 2 5/10. Then you would divide that by 2, and you would get 1 25/100. Now we can convert that to a percent by moving our decimal 2 places to the right, which would be 125%. So your online time increased 125% from Saturday to Sunday. Now we have an additional example. You can pause the video and try it on your own, or you may follow along. Find the percent of change. Round to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. So if we look at number 1, we have 10 inches to 25 inches. You can see that if we're starting at 10 and going to 25, this is a percent of increase. So percent of increase would be our new amount, which is 25, minus our original amount, which is 10, and that would then be divided by the original amount, which is 10. 25 minus 10 is 15. So we'd have 15 divided by 10, and 15 divided by 10 is equal to 1 5/10, and 1 5/10 would be 150%. For 1 5/10, we'd move our decimal 2 places to the right in order to get that percent. So 1, 2, that's how we got 150%. Now for number 2, we have 57 people to 65 people. 57 to 65 would be an increase. So again, we're doing a percent of increase. So we're going to start with our new amount, which is 65. And we'll subtract our original, which was 57. And then we're going to divide that by the original, which is 57. 65 minus 57 is 8. So we have 8 divided by 57. When we take 8 and divide it by 57, we're going to get 0.1403, and this keeps going on. We do have enough information here to convert this to our percent. Now to convert it to our percent, we'd move our decimal 2 places, 1, 2. We went around to the nearest tenth, so we look at the 0. That's what we're going to be rounding. The 3 behind tells us that we keep this 0 the same. So this would be 14.0%. Now we'll look at our second example for finding a percent of decrease. The bar graph shows a softball player's home run totals. What was the percent of change from 2012 to 2013. If we look at our bar graph, 2012 was 28 and 2013 is 20. The number of home runs decreases from 2012 to 2013. So the percent of change is the percent of decrease. Our percent of decrease would be equal to the original amount minus the new amount, and that would then be divided by the original amount. Our original amount would be the number for 2012, which was 28. Our new amount is the number from 2013, which is 20. So we have 28 minus 20, and that would be divided by 28. 28 minus 20 is equal to 8, and 8 divided by 28 is approximately 0.286, or 286 thousandths. When we convert that to a percent, we would get 28 6/10%. So the number of home runs decreased by about 28 6/10%. Now we have another additional example. You can pause the video and try it on your own, or you may follow along. Find the percent of change. Round to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. For number 3, we have 15 meters to 12 meters. If we start at 15 and go to 12, that is a decrease. So we're going to find a percent of decrease. For percent of decrease, we start with the original amount, which is 15, and we subtract the new amount, which is 12, and then we divide that by the original, which is 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, and then we would divide that by 15, and 3 divided by 15 is equal to 0.2, or 2/10. If we want to convert this to our percent, we move our decimal 2 places to the right, so 1, 2, put in a 0, and then that would be equal to 20%. For number 4, we have 24 goldfish to 19 goldfish. This again would be a decrease, so we're going to find the percent of decrease. For percent of decrease, we start with our original, which was 24. We subtract our new amount, which is 19, and then we divide by our original, which is 24. 24 minus 19 is 5, and then we're going to divide that by 24. And 5 divided by 24 is equal to 0.2083, and the 3 repeats. Now we need to convert this to our percent. Move our decimal 2 places to the right, so 1, 2, and that gives us 20.83 with a 3 repeating. The 8 would be in the tenths place. We look at the number behind, which is a 3, and that means we would keep this in 8. So we would have 20.8%. Don't forget to fill out your notes, and remember to watch the video again if needed.